Hello everybody, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by because today we're going to chat about the last holiday set that I picked up from Too Faced, the Enchanted Wonderland set. A lot of y'all had been asking about this one, wondering if I was going to pick it up, if I was going to review it, and we're going to talk about this little guy because it's broken up into 3 palettes. We know Too Faced to have done this plenty in the past, but is this one any different? And honestly, the big question is, did I save the best for last? So we're going to get into all of those details so that you know if this set is right for you. If all of that interests you, then just keep on watching. So my lovelies, this is a 3 eyeshadow palette, or I should say eyeshadow and face palette set, along with a mini mascara. We know they always add those mascaras in. I did pick it up at Ulta. This is an Ulta exclusive set, and I believe it was $49. I misquoted the last set that I reviewed by a couple of dollars. As usual, I always put the details in the description box below, so that you can see for yourself the exact details in case I am misquoting, but I will also include a link directly to the product. So this set is a, like I said, 3 palette set, and it does go in with the little forest animal theme, which I have been loving. For reference, it does smell like, it says, it smells like maple brown sugar. You get 6 pans of eyeshadow in each and 2 face products. We will, of course, go over that here shortly. For reference, it is, so the mascara, and I never noticed this before, but the mascara is made in Italy. That had never caught my attention before. And then as far as the eyeshadows, it is consistent. They are made in the USA, assembled in Dominican Republic. And then as far as the sizing, in case that's of interest to you, I know that's never of interest to me, but for some people that is a big deal. You get 18 shadows at a net weight of 0.8 grams or 0.03 ounces, total weight 14.4 grams and 0.48 ounces. Honestly, I'm not going to go into the breakdown of the face products because there's quite a few broken out here, but it roughly estimates about 3 grams or 0.11 ounces each. And the box is super, super cute, very girly with the pink. And here you've got 3 different animals. You've got a raccoon, a swan, and a pretty little deer. So, so cute. And again, on the back, it just tells you what you have. I'm not even going to take out the mascara. You guys know what that looks like. So we've got that there. Here are the little palettes. They are so, so cute. So the raccoon, they're each wearing a crown consistent with all of the other sets that have come out, and they are just as detailed as the others. This bow looks like satin, the details in this entire collection were so thought out, and quite frankly, I'm a fan of whoever thought this up. This is just probably one of the most detailed, if not the most detailed packaging or theme in general from Too Faced in a very long time, if ever, quite frankly. I mean, to the point where the glitter on these bows looks like actual little jewels. I'm such a fan. And these 3 colors, look how pretty they pair together, but I'm a fan of pastels, so for me, it works. On the back, it is plain, which I appreciate because in past years, you remember they were putting the to and from, not even a sticker. It was printed on the actual palette in case you were wanting to gift it. But quite frankly, I mean, I don't know of anyone who actually wrote to and from. I kept mine. I mean, I didn't gift mine, but I just like it better plain. I don't like that. I was never a fan of that. So in case you were wondering, as far as the smell, it says it smells like maple brown sugar, and I do detect a smell when I get all up in there and take a whiff, and it's a very pleasant smell, unlike a few other things that we've talked about that have a little bit of an after smell. But these do smell very pleasant. However, they are not overpowering in the least. You literally have to go search it out in order to tell that there is a scent. And quite frankly, if I didn't know that these were scented, I wouldn't even go in to smell them, and I would never know that they have a scent. So if you are sensitive to smells, then you know that you're pretty safe with these, because it's not like you open the palette and are slapped in the face with, you know, a ton of scent. So there is that. Now, this is very convenient because they're broken out into 3, so you literally can go in and see what theme you want. You can use all 3 together, which is what we're going to use in the demo today, or you can go based on theme. I'm feeling kind of pink and girly today, so I'm going to go with this one. Or I'm feeling a little bit foxy neutrals. I'm gonna go in with this one. Notice there is a glitter very similar to foxy neutrals. We're gonna talk about that here in a bit. And then my favorite of the bunch is, I feel a little olive green. You guys know I love me a good olive green eyeshadow. We're gonna talk about that too. So this is the palette for that type of theme. Or like I said, you can mix and match if you wanna go grungy olive with a little girly pink. You could totally do that. And then of course each one has its face products. So definitely very travel friendly if you want to take all three. It's still pretty compact, or if you just want to take one, you know, and just kind of just deal with one and not have a whole lot of bulk to your makeup bag when you travel, there you go. So definitely convenient. And it is the only set both from Sephora and Ulta that has that breakout of 3 mini palettes. They didn't do one for Sephora. So that being said, it's time to go into swatches for each of these, and after that we'll go into the demo, and of course we'll go into final thoughts, because I know y'all are wondering if this really is the best out of the bunch, or if it's kind of on par, you know, did it even not make the mark? I don't know. We'll talk about that. So let's just go ahead and jump into swatches right now. So starting off with the Raccoon palette, we've got the first 4 shades called Kiss for Santa, Let It Snow, Nuts for Christmas, and Fa La La. Deck the Halls and Hot Chocolate, and then Sleigh Bells and Everything Nice are the face products in this palette. So super light wash of color for the face products. I feel like I've said that practically every video, so it doesn't even really show up on my skin tone. Just saying, this particular eyeshadow, which one is it? Yeah, this one up here, it does swatch really nice, but like I say, you can't ever really determine the quality of a shadow by its swatch. You got to play with it, put it on the eyes. So that's what we've got going on there. And this, of course, is the pressed glitter. I will be right back with the second palette. Moving into the Swan palette, we have got the first 4 shades as Break the Ice, December 25th, Turtle Doves, and All the Gifts. Very light, I will admit. Here we've got Miss Kringle, Under the Tree, and then Fine Cone and Secret Santa are the 2 face products. Ooh, super crumbly. 2 shadows, 2 face products. This one looking really light, but you also have to consider the fact that swans are supposed to be like, you would picture lighter shades, lighter pinks with swans. And so I see why they did it. We will talk more about it in a little while, but it is pretty light. Lastly, we're going into the Deer palette, which is probably my favorite out of the bunch. So here we go with the first 4 shades. We have got Angel Wings, Ding Dong, 100% That Grinch, and All the Jingle Ladies, which I feel like I've heard a shade name like that before. I don't know, that play on the song doesn't surprise me, so I don't know. Anyways, so you already know why this is my favorite palette out of the bunch. It's for these 2, the olive shade and the golden green type of shade, which of course is it's gonna be the one that I use in the demo, of course. I mean, I couldn't go any different. But very pretty, very pigmented. If you love an olive green, this one, probably right up your alley. Last up, we've got Baby It's Cold, which is a duochrome that we see all the time, I feel like. Down the Chimney, which is the matte black. Christmas Morning and Fruitcake, which are the face powders. The face powders are incredibly crumbly. I don't know if you just saw all the powder that went everywhere, but again, this is the one that I feel like everybody does, but this one's actually quite nice. I feel like I like it better than a lot of the ones that I have come across. And then, like I said, this matte black, very pigmented. So definitely I think this palette will appeal to most people more than the other 2. I don't know. But that being said, it is time to go into the demo at this point. We are going to go put this on my eyes together. I actually remembered to wait till I was filming to put the face products on my face, unlike last video if you've already seen that one. So let's go ahead and play with this makeup together, and then we will be back for final thoughts. Starting off with the Raccoon palette and the shade Fa La La, I'm taking a blending brush. This is quite a fluffy blending brush, and I'm just going to start laying this down, start sweeping it around. It's going to be my crease color. I do go in with a couple of layers, but that's nothing new. That's typically what I do when building up my crease. So this one actually built up really nicely and was, for me, the perfect crease shade. Now I'm going to go in with another blending brush and the Deer palette. I'm going in with that olive green shade called 100% That Grinch. Best shade name ever. And I'm placing this on both the outer and inner portion of the lid, almost going to create a halo eye. I say almost, I mean, who are we kidding? I'm going to create a halo eye. And I'm taking a smaller brush that kind of fits, like I've told y'all before, nothing new, fits up into the little area that I can't reach with either my finger or a bigger blending brush. Going in with the shade All the Jingle Ladies. This is probably the prettiest shade out of all three palettes. It is highly, highly metallic and it stands out. If you are a standout shade kind of girl, then this shade will be your favorite as well. Going in with a little angled brush, I'm going to go in with that black shade called Down the Chimney. I'm going in with just a little bit because for me, using black shades it can make a look go south real fast for me. It can end up looking muddy and messy and like I pretty much don't know what I'm doing. So very little bit on the tip of that brush, and it ended up deepening the look very, very nicely. Going in with a little bit of Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer in the inner corner. This is what I'm putting down for my tacky base, of course, and going in with the Swan palette. And I'm going in with the shade December 25th, a little bit of a little detail brush and a little bit at a time, building it up. It's a very pretty shade, but it does need building. It's a little bit more of a piecier type of shade, and so, for whatever that's worth. Going back into the Deer shade, into that olive shade 100% That Grinch, onto a pencil brush, and this is what I'm going to place on my lower lash line. Now, I'm going to basically mimic what I did on the lid, and I'm placing it on the outer and inner portion of my lower lash line. And then we will be going in with that All the Jingle Ladies shade and place that in the middle. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, obviously. Mixing the black and olive, deepening that outer portion up, and then going back in, like I said, with that metallic shade for the middle portion. It's basically looking the lower lash line just like the lid. Going in with the Raccoon shade, or the Raccoon palette, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Going in with the blush shade Everything Nice. This is definitely not one of my favorite face products. Probably won't be using it again. But Too Faced face products for holiday bundles are typically not my favorite anyways. So going in with the Sleigh Bells highlight from that same palette, I'm just going to place this on the high points of my cheeks. As usual, you already saw the expression on my face. It's definitely not my favorite. I'm placing it also on the tip of my nose, down the bridge of my nose, and in all the usual places that I would, like my chin, and as well on my brow, or above my eyebrows. It's been a long day, guys. I'm tired. Alright guys, so this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed. I was very, very happy with how it turned out. Quick and easy. All right, friends, I hope you found that helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe it was just fun and entertaining, but regardless, hopefully it helped you kind of really see what these are like in action. And now it's time to actually talk about these bad boys. The first thought that came to my mind is, okay, is this three-piece set like the cream of the crop, basically the one that you need, the best of them all? Because at this point, I really have reviewed pretty much everything that Too Faced has released. And primarily, my thought process was, do you really get a little bit of everything with these three? Because again, a lot of people aren't going to go for picking up, they're not going to be a maniac like me and pick up every single set that released this year by Too Faced or any other brand. And so some people are really being selective about what they buy, by, and you know, this is definitely intriguing. There's 3 different palettes. I can't buy them all. Does this kind of span what I need? So let's talk about that. First off, the packaging. I feel like I'm beating this to a pulp. I loved the packaging this year. It was their best so far. I think the detail in this, the theme, everything was just very holiday. It just really got me into the Christmas makeup spirit, and I was really happy with it. So even for this set right here, I loved. So let's go ahead and talk about, I don't want to put too much time into each one individually. I'd kind of like to talk more about them collectively, but I mean, I do have to talk a little bit about each one. So of course, each one has a theme. This one right here, the raccoon, reminds me very much of the Foxy Neutral set by Sephora, or the one that is sold at Sephora. There's a lot of similarity. You've got this gold, just like in the Foxy Neutrals. You've got the browns, the peaches. There's a whole lot of similarity. It's almost like they summarized that one into this one right here. So that is the theme of this little guy. I've already told you my favorite is the deer because of the olive tone shades. Olive tones for me are pretty much my favorite. I will choose an olive tone over a bright shade any day. And I know that's mind-blowing because I love my bright colors, but an olive tone just really makes my eye color pop, and it's very flattering on my skin tone, so I very much like it. This for me is my favorite, and I feel like this was the most different out of all of the sets that they released. This was kind of the more unique one of the bunch. And so it definitely has that aspect to it. So this one right here, I feel like you find in every Too Faced holiday release. So that really isn't a whole lot new, but really for the olive, basically, I'm talking 2 shades, but cohesively, it works for me. And then you have the Swan palette, which like we've already talked about is going to be like your softer pinks, definitely your lighter shades. I feel like it really does mimic the, I feel like I can't even remember what palette it was anymore. The Enchanted Forest palette, because that one had the ballerina shade, also the Sugar Plum Fun palette, which also was that girly type of palette. So this is kind of like a summary of a couple of palettes in one. And so I do feel like this one does kind of, you know, not mirror, but pulls a little bit from those as well. So all in all, you do kind of get a little touch here and there with a little bit of unique here. And so yes, this is a little bit more of a collective, okay, let's take a little bit from each set that we've released and put it in these. So in that sense of it, yes, this is the best out of all of them for that person who is looking for just a touch of each thing without having to buy each set as a whole. Now, in talking about the quality, I feel like it was a little bit of a mixed bag. I found to be consistent among all of them. This, the Enchanted Forest, and the Sugar Plum Fun, that these pans of eyeshadow are set a little lower. I've already talked about that in my last couple of videos, and so you can check those out if you want a little more detail. But just to kind of summarize, the pans of product in this are set a little deeper than, for example, the Sephora ones, or just your average eyeshadow palette. So I like to go in with my finger for like those metallic and glitter shades, and typically I don't have the issue of my finger bumping up against all edges of the pan of product, but with all of the Ulta Too Faced, I did. It's like bump, 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 bump. And so sometimes my fingers are kind of dry and it really makes me cringy. It gives me kind of like goosebumps because it's like rubbing up against the cardboard. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I'm not a fan. This was exactly the same, so I have found that to be consistent. As far as the quality of let's start with the face products. Let's just get that out of the way. You already know what I'm gonna say if you have been following all of my Too Faced holiday reviews. Truly the only one that blew my socks off this year was the Cinnamon Bear palette blush. That one was unlike any other Too Faced blush from a holiday product that I had come across. That one, the quality was amazing. Other than that, these just kind of fell in the bucket of my expectation of I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of Too Faced holiday face products when they're bundled like this in palettes, and they don't speak to me. They sit on top of my skin. They're too light. If they're too light for me, I know they're gonna be too light for my deeper skin tone ladies, and so it's just, I'm not a fan. This probably this highlight, was it this one? Which one did I use? Whatever highlight is in these palettes, let me find it. So this one in the Raccoon palette, which is Sleigh Bells, is probably my least favorite highlight of any Too Faced holiday highlight of life. Could have totally done without it. If that was just a blank space in this palette, I'd have been fine with that because I'm never going to use that again. In fact, most of these face products I will probably never use again. I literally will pull these to use the eyeshadows, and that's about it. So take that for what it's worth. Yes, it is convenient because it's all in the eyeshadow palette for travel, for just reaching, for just not having to think about much, not having to think about what blush do I want to use today, that kind of thing. But aside from that, they are pretty much, for me, I won't use them again. As far as the eyeshadows, I also felt it was kind of a mixed bag. Some of them are very, very thin and hardly work on my skin tone. There are some that are really great that I enjoy very much, and there's some that are just average, that are what I would expect from a Too Faced holiday eyeshadow palette. So I feel like these particular shades, like All the Gifts and Miss Kringle, for whatever reason, those are a little bit lighter and I have to go in heavier. I don't use a brush with those, just FYI. I use my finger for the best opacity to get less frustrated. That sounds horrible. I'm not trying to make this sound, you know, like such a negative set. No, it's just that it's kind of like the Enchanted Forest. The pink I used, I loved it. Y'all loved it. It took work though. So it's not a Natasha Denona shadow that's just going to apply itself. I mean, let's face it. So they are lovely shades. They just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. They're just thinner. They're not as pigmented. Break the Ice, like that's a shade I will never use. I don't use those types of shades. But then you get to like this matte right here under the tree. It's very, very nice. The shade I used in my crease today, also very nice, which is Fa La La. I find that, I skipped over, sorry, to the Raccoon palette, just kind of jumping around here. I found that most of this palette worked very well. This Deck the Halls glitter I find is very similar to the one in the Foxy Neutrals, but I feel like the one in the Foxy Neutrals is a little bit easier to work with. It's a little bit more pow, it's a little bit more sparkle. I don't know. They look the exact same in the pan. This one feels a little more sparse when I pick it up on my finger. The one from the Foxy Neutrals feels like it picks up a little bit more and a little bit better, but it's kind of nice to have this in this little palette and in this set, because again, if you're not wanting to pick up the Foxy Neutrals and this set and something else, you can kind of get a little bit of everything in this bundle. So you have that there. Really everything in this palette, minus the face products, the eyeshadows I found worked really nicely, and I was actually really happy with this. Of course, going into my favorite one, which is the Deer, I found most of these to work pretty well as well. These duochromes, these blue-brown pigment type of shades as I like to call them, are typically thinner and take more building. This I do like to go in with a brush actually, and I do like to go in with a tacky base because that helps the opacity. It helps it look a little bit richer than what it is. The black I found, you guys know, I don't use black shades very often because for me, it can make a look go real tragic real quick for me. I'm just not very skilled at working with super dark shades, including black shades and matte black shades at that. It can end up looking really bad on my eyes. Some people have such a knack for where to place it, where to smoke it out, and for me, I have to be very, very careful. So that probably won't get a whole lot of use out of, or from me, with the exception of maybe like lining my eye, lining my lid. Anyways, so, and then again, this shade right here, I don't use cream shades like this. I just don't. They're lost on me. Aside from that, I love this palette. This one is also pretty darn good quality, minus the face products. We already talked about that. So again, it's kind of a mixed bag. There's a lot that I liked. There's some that I didn't. And I think what it really comes down to is, was this truly the best for last? Did I save the best for, you know, for last out of all of the reviews that I have done? I think that really depends on you. And so for me, it's not my favorite out of all of them that I have picked up. We'll talk about that in the Too Faced Holiday Roundup. It's not my favorite. However, I really do think it is appealing to a lot of people because of now the price point is $49, but the variety that you get really does appeal to a lot of people, and I can totally see why. So for the convenience and for the being able to have a little bit of everything, this actually is a really good deal, a really good bundle. I don't know if deal, because I feel like they were all $49 and all of them came with a good amount of stuff, but I feel like it's a good choice in case you're wanting to just kind of dip your toe and not really buy a whole lot of holiday. Then you kind of got a little bit of everything and you get the cute packaging. So definitely something I will continue to use. It's not something that I say it's the worst thing ever. It's kind of average, and you do have, you know, a few duds and a lot of good ones. So you just kind of got to take the bad with the good, and just if it is up your alley, if it's something you would use, then I say definitely pick it up. So guys, that brings us to the end of another video. This pretty much wraps up Too Faced holiday. That was crazy. There was so much. I've never reviewed that much Too Faced in a short amount of time, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and we will have one more video, like I said, like a recap video to talk about it all and just kind of share, you know, what's right for what people, you know. Before I let you go, I just want to give you a very quick verse of the day. It comes from Psalm 68:19, and it says, "Praise be to the Lord, to God our Savior, who daily bears our burdens." It is my encouragement to you that if you are going through a difficult time, that if you feel like you are bearing a lot of burden, that you would reach out to him. He is the most amazing burden bearer. I can honestly tell you that from experience. And he is just absolutely incredible. Not trying to shove anything down your throat, just in an effort to encourage you and tell you that there is hope. Please don't feel hopeless. I love you. I share that love with you, that encouragement with you, and Jesus loves you so, so much more. All right, friends. Well, I will see you in the very next video. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and have a great rest of your day. See you soon.